But let's go ahead and turn this bad boy on and see what it does. But actually, first of all, I would like to peel this screen film off. Ooh, satisfaction right there. Nice. All right, so now we'll turn it on. Flip that on switch, see if we have some battery. And it appears that we do have some battery. It is supposed to be an IPS screen, so I'm expecting it to look nice. Clearly it's a widescreen, not 4x3, which is, you know, standard for this time. No signal. All right, well, that's not good. We should definitely have a signal here. It should boot up the PS2 when you turn it on. This appears to just be turning the screen on and not the actual PS2. Not sure what the deal is there. Maybe that button does something. Still no signal. Press it again. So it does appear to switch between inputs when I click that button, but still nothing booting up. All right, well, that's not good. It's not working so far, so let me go ahead and mess around with this thing and see what I'm missing. So I've had a pretty wild ride trying to figure this thing out, and long story short, I found some solder debris that was laying across a few pins on the AV chip, and it was causing it, I guess, to short out and cause the console not to turn on. So let me just show you real quick what I'm talking about. So I'll give you a more in-depth look in a little bit of the insides, but as you can see, here it is. And the main thing to note is you have this chip right here, this custom PCB connected to a chip that's just laying here. And the audiovisual chip is actually right under here, so I didn't even look at it for hours. I was just looking around this thing, trying to figure stuff out. I did not even look under it because this thing was covering it up. But once I did, I found this debris right here. I'll zoom in on it so you can see it. So right here, this is the debris I'm talking about. My camera can barely even focus on it because it's so small. But it's basically solder debris and like the ends of wires, and somehow it came loose, I guess, either in shipping or they were just careless when soldering, and yeah, it was basically straddled across a few pins on the chip. So a closer look, here's the PCB that's just kind of flapping in the wind, and the audiovisual chip is right under that. So if we prop this up and lift the PCB up a little bit, there's actually a chip right here, and you can kind of see some of the debris where I had to basically peel the solder off because it was stuck to it. It was basically straddled across those few pins right there. I know it's kind of hard to see, but just trust me, it was pretty bad. And there were also a few other things I ran into along the way, but that was the main thing. And let's go ahead and just turn this thing on, and I'll show you that it is working now. The funny thing is I had actually made an entire segment kind of ending this video because the console just was not working, so I assumed it wasn't going to work at all, but here we are. And one of the other things I figured out is that once you turn the switch on the bottom, you actually have to press this little home button right here, and that's what turns the PS2 on. So that was my first issue, but even when I figured that out, it still didn't work because the AV chip was messed up. But now it should boot up, and there it is. Cool. So it did boot up this time. Booted up into OPL, which is basically a way to play games via the USB drive on the PS2. So I'm assuming this thing has FreeMC boot loaded into the memory card, and then we can load up some homebrew. So we got OPL as the homebrew and basically a way to play games. I guess these are some games. So that looks like Tekken 4. I'm not sure what VR4 is. Looks like a bunch of abbreviations. Let's try TK4, assuming that's Tekken 4, and we'll see if it plays.